Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World with me, John Jordan. So currently in a very Blankos sort of frame of mind, been doing a lot of kind of work on looking at the marketplace that's been live for about a week now. And as I came across that, kind of one of the things I was looking at some kind of return on investment sort of data. It's all pretty crude stuff. This isn't really not anything very clever. But I thought I would spend a bit of time looking at the founder bundles. So these were four particular bundles of Blankos and NFTs and also some in-game currency. So this is when Blankos went live back in sort of well, it was already live, but when it was sort of the first kind of sale of in-game items, which I think was October 2020, and the kind of the first sort of open beta, I think they called it, went live in November pretty much, as far as I remember. But anyway, there was a sort of pre-sale where you could buy these items, and then a few weeks later the game went live, and then you had those items in the game. And I thought it'd be interesting to go back and have a look at what was going on with those. So it actually proves, as is often the case with sort of original content in blockchain games, which is obviously my area of expertise, but also NFT collectibles. If you can get in early, you can actually do fairly well. So obviously the price of these things fluctuates a lot. We definitely saw that with NBA Top Shop, where there was a massive bubble, and the prices, but it came down substantially from their peak. So we expect that with blockchain stuff. If something sort of gets kind of mass market appeal, a lot of excitement happens, a lot of buzz, a lot of people put a lot of financial value into these things. It blows up. A bit like a Ponzi scheme. Not that crypto's a Ponzi scheme, but some of these things can act a bit like that. And then at some point, sort of the underlying value is understood to be rather lower than the value things are trading at. And NBA Top Shop was a great example of a project which is great, still going. Very popular. Over 500,000 people own those NFTs now. At one point, it was almost $2 billion market cap. I think now it's about 700 million, which is still amazing. But crypto tends to go through that slightly ridiculous kind of FOMO situation where everyone piles in. Spikes values up, and then have to sort of come down again and then find a new sort of equilibrium. So I'm sure that will happen with Blankos. Blankos is really early, hasn't really gone mass market yet because only a certain number of people are allowed into the marketplace. I don't really know. I'd imagine it'd be at most a few thousand. So this has got a long way to go. Maybe it will go through kind of its bubble phase, but this is early, and I think. Not investment advice. And anyway, you can't buy these bundles anymore, so it doesn't really matter. These were only available for like a 2-week period in limited quantities. Anyway, so there were 4 bundles, and these were the bundles. So there was a Boss Dino bundle, a Billy Bones Dino, actually Billy Bones Gold, I should say, Billy Bones Gold bundle, a Taco bundle, and a Lolly bundle. So these are the names of the Blankos, but these were bundles. So in the Boss Dino bundle, you basically got Boss Dino, the Blanko NFT. You got a couple of wearable NFTs. So in that case, you got a big sort of dollar necklace, medallion necklace, and a pterodactyl glider. So in Blankos, you have a lot of these sort of flying jetpack sort of things. So that tends to be a lot of the accessories are built around that. Billy Bones Gold was actually. You got the Billy Bones Gold Blanko NFT. You also got 6 accessories in that one. So you got like some horns and some gloves and a mask and a boots and a whole bunch of other stuff. Can't remember what the jetpack thing was. Taco was a jetpack and some. Can't remember what the other one was. And Lolly was a jetpack and some goggles and a bracelet. I think the other Taco one was a bracelet as well. So you basically got the NFTs, and then you got some accessories which are also NFTs. So NFTs just means you can trade them on the Blankos marketplace. So you got a bunch of stuff. This was the bundle price. So the Boss Dino one was most expensive, $150. Had to pay with credit card. I think you could actually pay with crypto actually, but most people I think pay with credit card. So this was the kind of the pricing that you paid, but as well as those NFT items, you also got some bucks. So Blankos Bucks is the in-game currency, which you can buy with a credit card. I think sort of officially, technically behind the scenes, it is a cryptocurrency, but it isn't a cryptocurrency you can trade, because the Blankos blockchain at the moment is what we call a proof of authority blockchain, which means it's kind of centralized, really, and you can't get access to that crypto. You can't trade it on other exchanges. You can't transfer it into your wallet. So it kind of is a cryptocurrency, but you may as well think of it as like just an in-game currency. But the interesting thing here, and this is sort of my kind of fundamental to my kind of calculations here, is basically with the Boss Dino bundle, you got $150 worth of bucks, and with Billy Bones Gold, you got $100 of these bucks. Taco 50, Takeo 50, and Lolly $25. So basically, if you bought all these bundles as well as all the NFTs, you got $225 worth of these Blanko bucks. So what I've done here is there's three different columns, as you can see. So this here is the current. If you go to the marketplace and you want to buy Boss Dino and the 2 accessories he came with, how much would that cost you? 260. So equally, if you bought this for 150, you could sell the NFTs. I'm not sure there's enough liquidity in there, but roughly this is the price, give or take. Billy Bones Gold. So it was only a $100 bundle, but because it had these 6 accessories and people like those accessories, currently worth 266. Obviously, this price goes up and down every day. Taco bundle, $50 bundle price, and now currently worth $186. And the Lolly bundle, $25, $154. So particularly the Lolly one's done really well. Lolly's one of my favourites, actually. So I think that's kind of good. So anyway, you basically would have spent $325 on the bundle to buy all 4 of those if you bought all 4. And those current NFTs are worth $866 if you sell them. But of course, we've forgotten about the bucks. So if we put the bucks, the kind of US dollar value of the bucks in, everything goes up by the bundle price sort of thing. Then our total is $1,191. But if you get the bucks, what do you do with the bucks? You don't just leave the bucks sitting there in your wallet. You actually go and spend the bucks. So this is like a slightly sort of an aggressive investment strategy, I suppose. But in this column here, I've assumed that the bucks you got, so in the Boss Dino case, you got $150 of bucks, and you have then spent those $150 you've spent buying more Blankos. So there's currently 40 different Blankos, with many more to come. I mean, there'll be hundreds soon. But if you basically invested that $150 of bucks buying new Blankos, now all the Blankos have been going up in price. So I'm not going to show all this here, but so this is all Blankos at the moment, and we can see here I've just been kind of keeping an eye on the price, and we can see here the return on investment of some of these Blankos. So yes, some of them up to 300%, some of them 73%, still pretty good. That's a Boss Dino actually. So I've done like an average calculation that if you basically had invested all your bucks into Blankos, and so you basically in this column you don't have any bucks anymore, but you've basically invested those bucks in more NFT Blankos. And what's the price of those NFT Blankos? Like a sort of an average, and the average increase that we've seen if you'd done that fairly early on, actually. Not if you'd invested in the most recent Blankos, because they haven't gone up so much because they've only just been released. But if you basically had got your $150 back in November, and then basically in November and December, in January, spent all those bucks buying more NFTs to have more Blanko characters, this is what you end up with. So this is sort of, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a best case scenario, because if you'd invested in some particular Blankos, they've gone up an enormous amount. But this is still a fairly good markup. So roughly, I would say if you'd invested $225 in the initial bundle, buying all 4 NFT bundles or Blankos, you would now roughly have that $2,000 or $1,900 worth of value. Now, could you get that value out straight away? No, you couldn't. You'd have to drop the price of these to kind of sell them off, and I don't think there's enough liquidity. I don't think there's enough people interested in buying them. That's what liquidity means. So you probably couldn't realise this value, but this value is 486% if you want the markup. So getting on for kind of 6 times, isn't it? Kind of value. So it's kind of quite impressive, and it just goes to show. I mean, these are just the percentages working out for here. I've done this the wrong colour, haven't I? That should be in blue. Oh dear. That's the wrong blue. So it just goes to show, not that this is investment advice and you should be investing in all these blockchain game pre-sales. I mean, I would definitely recommend you don't invest in those sort of things. But I think it does become interesting when you buy NFTs in a project that really does have liquidity, which basically people are very interested in. And obviously, and Blankos for me was sort of obvious. I thought they were, it was a very interesting game from a well-funded, well-experienced company. That's not the case in most blockchain games. There's a lot of not very experienced, not very well-invested companies who are releasing NFTs. So I definitely wouldn't recommend people investing, hundreds of dollars into pre-sales. But if you kind of do have good, if you've done your research on projects, and the research does pay off, and these games do sort of come to fruition, and do gain some sort of traction, some sort of mass market appeal. I wouldn't say Blankos is there yet, but particularly you can see quite good kind of results, because these things are very valuable. Obviously, these Blankos are only available for 2 weeks now. So if anyone wants to buy a Boss Dino, you have to go to the marketplace to buy it. There's very limited supplies of those. I think a few thousand of these NFTs were actually kind of created. I think less for 3,500 for Boss Dino. I think a bit more, maybe 6,000 for Lolly. Can't remember. Don't think it's sold out actually. But particularly if you have a bundle that also gives you in-game currency that then you can further invest, you're sort of getting a sort of compounded interest kind of effect going on here. That you're not just getting the you're sort of getting free money that then you can invest to also get more NFTs. So that's a sort of interesting kind of thing to look out for. I've not seen many projects that do this. Blankos was one of the first, and it's not every blockchain game project that. I mean, they all have NFTs. They don't always have currency as well. But it just a sort of something to be aware of, that all other risk factors being equal, which is never the case. If you're getting some free cryptocurrency or some free in-game currency that you can also invest in the project, then basically you're getting a kind of a multiplier effect going on here. Now will this pan out? Well, I don't know. I'll have to do a similar calculation in 6 months' time to see how this stuff pans out. But personally, I've always been a big fan of Blankos. So I didn't invest in Blankos to make a lot of money. I invested in Blankos because I thought it was a really interesting project, and I like the art style, and I like the Blankos, and I'm not particularly interested in selling them actually at the moment. So I've not sold any of my Blankos. I've actually bought some more since the marketplace has been live. So there we go. But as I say, not investment advice, but it is interesting with blockchain that you can have this very powerful impact. And more generally, I do think sort of NFTs fit really well into the gaming sector. And if you kind of think, I'm not saying Blankos will be the next kind of Roblox or something like that, but you can imagine people who were in World of Warcraft or any of those big MMOs. If you bought the sort of first generation assets there in those games that have been going for 10, 20 years, you can sort of imagine the rarity of those assets and the potential value that is going to be in those. Now, most blockchain games are going to fail, so I wouldn't be suggesting. In fact, I would probably say 95% of blockchain games will fail. This is also in that circumstance, it will be a sort of winner takes all model, but there will be some assets that will be worth significant sums of money. And I guess we've already seen, not a game, but things like CryptoPunks. There's been many CryptoPunks, or a handful that have sold for over $1 million. Those were given away for free 4 years ago. And obviously in the last week we've seen one CryptoPunk sell for getting on for $12 million at auction. So these things can have a large financial value. I think games can sort of help that, because it gives utility. It's not just abstract value. Something to keep your eye on, and I would recommend Blankos if you haven't played it yet. It's free to play. You don't have to spend any money. You get actually given some free NFTs when you start playing these days, so you can kind of experience it. And if you play the game, you can actually earn some in-game currency. You can actually earn some NFTs that you could then potentially sell on as well. So there is this kind of free model, and because you're putting time into the game, you can actually earn something as well. We will see how that pans out. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is Blockchain Gaming World, where we spend our time thinking about these sort of things, and about how gaming and blockchain and financial value and enjoyment and community all sort of come together, or potentially come together, I think, in this new kind of gaming sector. So thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe to the channel. See you again soon.